On Sunday night, Kyrie Irving would play his first game back after he was suspended for at least 5 games. That suspension later became 8. In order to show their support for Kyrie's return, several Black Hebrew Israelites stood outside the Barclays Center. According to sources, the group is connected to the Amazon documentary Kyrie shared, which is what led to his suspension in the first place. After his return, Kyrie was asked about the Black Hebrew Israelites showing up for the game. Instead of answering their questions, Kyrie would tell reporters that he's just there to focus on basketball. Today we have our comedy hype analyst, Pierre, in studio with Capone calling in to give their thoughts and reactions. But first, let's take a look at that clip. Now, of course, a lot of people had a lot to say about this, but I'm interested to know. I'll start with you, Pierre. What was your reaction when you saw that clip?
Pure joy. I was, we got to let people know that we stand behind them. And a certain group is making extra vocal, the Israelites. And hey, we just feel like he was railroaded, in that scenario. And he's being pushed too far. He's done, what he had to do. And I'm glad that they came out and supported him, So without a doubt, make some noise, let them know that we ain't gonna take it either, being bullied. So we being black.
Capone, let me bring you in on that. What was your reaction when you first saw this clip surface?
I was excited as well. Anytime our culture can come together for any cause, that's a good cause to me. So yeah, I was ecstatic.
Absolutely. Now, of course, during Kyrie's press, he was questioned about this, even though it had absolutely nothing to do with basketball. So I want to take a look at what he had to say and come back and get your reaction to that. So let's take a look at that clip.
Hey, Kyrie, there's a group of about 100 people outside wearing the shirt of a group called Israel United in Christ, a group labeled as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They were outside in support of you and handing out anti-Semitic literature on the plaza to people walking by. They're a group labeled as a hate group by the
I think that's a conversation for another day. I'm just here to focus on the game.
You've said this whole time that you didn't know what kind of what kind of voice you had. But if these are the people that are out here in your name, you feel like that's a consequence of what you've done?
Again, I'm just here to focus on the game.
Now, there's a couple things I want to clarify and, of course, get you all's reaction. Now, the first gentleman who asked the question, he mentioned about the Israel United in Christ. To be specific, this is what they're labeled as based on this article. It says a Black Hebrew Israelite group based in Bronx, New York, thinks white people are the devil, Jews are fake Jews, and the members of the LGBT community are sinners. Now, that's what this group that was outside is being labeled as. So, one, of course, I love your reaction to what we just seen, but also to clarify, I know both of you are in support of what's outside, and I want to make sure that it's very clear. What about that, are you supportive of? Is it because seeing Black men outside supporting Kyrie Irving, or is it particularly this group that they're mentioning of? And Pierre, I'll start with you.
Doesn't matter the group. I'm just glad somebody's supporting the brother in a big way. Now, I don't know everything that Israelites stand for. I don't study it, so I can't speak on it but so much. I know they want to be heard and they should be heard, It's up to someone else to determine if they're a hate group or not a hate group. And I'd have to see what have they've done to. Have they done anything physically? Have they done anything, just to stand for their own, what they believe in? Does that make them a hate group? Or that what they say or spew out makes them a hate group? No different than the Tiki Torch people who do that too. Are they hate groups? So, but I'm just glad that someone with a force. They scaring white folks. Them brothers out there scaring white folks, and that's why they mumbling and jumbling all in the interview with them. So they don't want no parts of that, and that's fine if they know that Kyrie has a backing that they want no parts of.
Now, what's your reaction to Kyrie responding to those questions?
Beautiful. I'm here to play basketball. It's just unfortunate the way they're digging and trying to dig and make him say something to start it all over again. I'm not mad at a group who is pushing, because if it was us, and some white boy had said the N-word and we're on him, stay on his ass too. But at what point do we move on?
Right.
At what point do we move on? If you apologize, let's move on now. But it seems like they're going to keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. For what? For Kyrie to break?
Right.
They'll be happy then. So they're just as nasty as the comments they think that, the way they think Kyrie is. They're just as nasty by doing that right there. He's playing basketball. Let's focus on basketball. And like he said, I'll be glad when I can have a chance to have a platform where I can speak at and not be so critically, so harshly criticized on what I do. And I believe that, and I agree with that because, we do want to speak our mind at times, and to be dragged down as soon as it doesn't sound correct. And who they doing it against, them Jewish guys do have power. Like Dave Chappelle said, there are lots of them. Lots of them. And they're in power.
And Kyrie even took the time to apologize again before the game. So it's like we've heard umpteen amount of apologies. But Capone, let me bring you in on this. One, of course, I want you to clarify exactly for you, what about that was something that drew you to it to say, hey, I support it. But then also I would love to get your reaction to Kyrie's response to these questions after the game.
Pierre couldn't have put it more perfectly. He said everything that I would say. Exactly how he said it. The point of keep pushing. I probably would have snapped by now. But he kept it real professional. I think that he even answered some questions that he shouldn't have answered. He should have just kept saying, I'm here to play basketball. The thing that bothered me a little bit is watching the interview, I didn't see the game, so I don't even know who won. So it seems to me that he wasn't even worried about the basketball game. I didn't know how many points he scored. I didn't know. The only thing I heard about where he responded was, he was a little rusty with the dribble. That's it. I don't know who won the game, nothing. They didn't ask any questions. So worried about the other stuff. And it's amazing how the media does this stuff to actually portray. And to say that these people are evil because of their opinion is just crazy to me.
And let me say something. It's funny that you said that you would snap, and a lot of us feel that way. But that's exactly what they want us to do, is to snap. So that becomes another reason why we shouldn't be, or in the league or whatever. We're animals now. We can't handle conversation and so forth without going level. So I feel you, but Cap, to tell a lot of black people, you can't snap in them situations because that's leading right into what they want you to do.
Yeah, and I agree. I definitely love his response. It reminded me of like a Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Right.
Love that energy that he had. But of course, people would sound off on social media with this, kind of on both ends of it. So I'll read a couple of comments. One person says, I want black men free from the Hotep and Israelites ideologies because this is cringing and embarrassing. While another user says, y'all mad at the black Hebrew Israelites gather outside the Barclays Center in support of Kyrie Irving, but had nothing to say about the armed white supremacists showing up at voting locations to intimidate black voters. So Capone, I'm actually gonna come back to you. With this conversation of the Hotep ideology, a lot of people are, as we read, and this is just 2 comments that I've seen, are showing their support, but then some of them are going against it. So I'd love to ask, do you think the Hotep ideology is counterproductive? Like they're being too woke and maybe not taking the actions that are necessary? Capone?
Well, out of the 2 comments that you read, they're 2 different opinions. And for me to sit here and condemn them for having their opinion, I'm actually doing the same thing that they're doing to us. These people have the right to have their opinion, whether they're black or white, and they're entitled to it. So I can't really comment on some person's opinion on how they feel. Mm-hmm. Only what I feel, and I feel that it was a great thing for those men to be out there in support of Kyrie. I don't care if they were church-going people or Christians or whatever. Just as long as the support was out there, I really was excited about that.
Beautiful response, Pierre. Let me bring you in with that same question with this Hotep ideology. Do you think it's counterproductive that, maybe they're too woke and not being, or not taking enough action?
The fact that they may be waking us up to even understand our history it should be a light bulb to start making us go forward.
Correct. Yeah.
They don't have to hold our hand and walk us forward. They can say, bro, you are a king. You are from this. This is who you are. This is who we are as a people. You need to take that and with that energy and put a spine back in your ass and stand straight up and walk forward and speak like a man, a proud man. So they're just waking us, some of us up who've been asleep for a while. Mm-hmm. The ones that don't like it want us to basically hold hands with everybody and la-di-da around the world we are. But we're living in a time that, no, you need to give me my respect first before I hold your hands.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sure, at the end of the day, we all want to be treated equally. But you got to first treat me like a man or a woman, as a human being. Then we can talk about equally after that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have a problem with them speaking up, you know, how they, and being woke or extra woke or whatever the case they're saying. Let them speak. Now, I go out the subway sometime. I see them hollering and screaming on the microphone. Oh, God bless them. I don't necessarily, I may stand there for a second and listen to something, you know.
Yeah.
I go at it about a different way, but I do respect what they do. And I still feel at the end of the day, we are in some times that, we're in some very interesting times where it can go one way or the other. It can go, you know what I'm saying? We're at a real place where, and we're just getting our foothold on some stuff. We can't let it go because the next generation is going to suffer if we let it go.
Now, I want to open up the floor to an audience member. We have Terrence, who is an actor here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'd love to get his question. Thank you for joining us, Terrence.
Thank you, Kyrie. So I want to know, this is going on for like a month now. Like, honestly, I'm probably getting tired of it too. I just want to see the man play basketball. So what is y'all opinion? Like, what are y'all learning from this now?
Well, we should have known that. You know what, to be honest with you, I appreciate the resilience of Kyrie. You know, to hang in there and just, you know, and do. Yes, he apologized, but in the scheme of things, I'm proud of him. He should keep his head up. You know, he did what he had to do in the bigger picture, and for that's what I learned. I already knew what Jewish people, how they are. When you say something that they perceive anti-Semitic or something that's anti-Semitic, I already know how they come after your head. But to say that Kyrie, I'm proud of Kyrie. You know, some stuff he said in the past I didn't necessarily go with, but the fact that he stood his head up, he's back on the court playing, feeding his family, and I don't look at him as in a negative light at all.
Yeah.
What I learned is that no matter how much money you have, no matter how famous you are, as a black man, there's still somebody pulling puppet strings. And I learned that from watching the other black athletes turn on this man in public, on live television, or whatever you want to call it. And no matter how far we get, we're still going to struggle because they know how to divide and conquer us. Everybody was asked how they felt about Kyrie was black. They never asked no white person or anybody of any other color how they felt about them. So yeah, I feel I learned that money doesn't make you, exempt from being a puppet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Terrence, for asking.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hold on, before you go,
You ain't done yet.
of course, I love for people to know how they can keep up with you and follow all the work you're doing.
Follow my IG at T-Sims for real. TSIMS, the number 4, REAM. And yeah, see me on TV, commercials, YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, we do have one more audience member that has a question for us. Comedian and writer Dom Smith is going to come and ask you all another question. Thank you so much for joining us, Dom.
So throughout this whole situation, Kyrie has obviously received a lot of support from other NBA players, Jaylen Brown being one of them. And in the video that we played earlier, there was discussion about Kyrie talking to his legal team to see if they have a case to see if he was treated unfairly. Do you guys think Kyrie has a case to sue the organization?
Kyrie Irving has a lot of money. I'd sue, just see what turned out. You know, just start some, be a rubble rouser, just sue. We'll find out if it's worth it or not. But they'll know one thing, they'll get sued if they do that again. There's another ball player, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I would see, I wouldn't just back down. I would, he has trick off money. I put a legal team together and sue. See what it is, see what the Jewish people got to say. And then maybe, put a little pressure on them. Maybe they think next time, you know what? We might think twice before we go that hard on someone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I would do it. If I had the money, I would do it.
I think he has a great case. First of all, they pinpointed him as if he was the person that made the movie. All he did was make us aware of a movie shown. He did nothing wrong. The people who did the movie, if it's supposed to be that bad, anti-Semitic and all of that type of stuff, why they still not getting in the type of pressure that Kyrie got? So yes, it's very unfair. I think he has a great lawsuit, and I think that his legal team knows this, and that's why he said what he said.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And of course, how can people follow you and keep up with you, Dom?
Mr. Dominic Smith on all social media and here at Comedy Head.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. And as always, if you'd like to join us in studio, you can join us on Wednesdays. Just go to our Instagram page to click the link in the bio to RSVP. So thank you so much to our live studio audience for joining us and asking questions. And again, thank you both for chiming in on this topic. Of course, before we head out, I'd like to know what you have coming up and how people can follow you. So Capone, I'll kick it over to you. What do you have coming up and how can people follow you?
This weekend, I'm going to be in Warner Robins, Georgia. I think it's a military town, doing the show. And yeah, I'll be there. I'm trying to bring up Thanksgiving, but unfortunately, I'll be flying back home to cook my own dinner.
Oh, man. And of course, my favorite, how can people follow you?
You can follow me at Comedian Capone. And if you cannot spell comedian, please don't follow me.
Love it. Last and certainly not least, Pierre, what do you have coming up and how can people follow you?
Too much to talk about, but I'll try to minimize it. I got my special Half Truth. That'll be on Hype Plus, streaming on Hype Plus. Thanksgiving comes out Thanksgiving Day. It's my half-hour stand-up comedy, my micro special stand-up comedy special, where I talk about a lot of things, and I think a lot of people from Comedy Hype might be interested in, me talking about seeing where I come from. I talk about a lot of racial issues in a funny way. Also, I will be at the Tinley Convention Center in Chicago on the day after Thanksgiving. What's that, the 25th, I think it is? 25th? I think it's 25th is the day after Thanksgiving. I'll be there for all my Chicago folks. Come out, support. It's a lot of comedians on the show, so support that. And this month, I have my podcast, Pierre's Panic Room, is doing very well. I want to thank those who support it and watch it and share it. Thank you so much. Like I said, I got George Wallace on it, and season 3 is about to come up. We got some hot stuff for season 3. I'm looking really, really forward. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. So there it is.
And of course, how can people follow you?
You can follow me at Comic Pierre. This is the Comedy Hype audience. So let me spell it: COMIC PIERRE. Take it any way you want it.
I appreciate y'all so much. Again.
Can I say something else?
Absolutely.
All right, I wanna give a big shout out to Dion Cole, great comedian. Did a show which I've always included my mom's in the show. He also did a show for his mother, and he said something that was truly amazing at the end of his show about people at the ages of 45 to 50 of losing their parents, and it touched me so much. I just being somebody who lost his mother in '94, when the holidays come around, it's kind of hard for us to cope like regular people. And so what he touched on, I just want to give all the people that's watching this episode of Comedy Hype for the holiday seasons, if you know somebody that lost, their parents, give them a call just to check on them, because it's a very, very cold place to be in a position and not spend these holidays with the ones that you truly love. So big shout out to Dion Cole for bringing that up at the end of his show.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for bringing that up at the end of our show as well. We definitely appreciate it, and definitely send that love to people for the holidays, and to get a good laugh. We have a micro special and things like that coming out, so you can definitely check that out. And again, if you want to join us live here in the studios on Wednesdays, you can just follow us on Instagram. Click the link in the bio to RSVP. Come and have some good fun, and of course, ask any questions to our lovely analysts that we have, whether they're in studio or calling in. We definitely love it and appreciate it. So again, I appreciate you guys for chiming in on this topic. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts of Kyrie Irving responding to the Black Israelites supporting him outside of the Barclays Center? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Don't forget to put it in those comments.
Put it in the comments.
Hi, I'm Symphony Thompson. And one thing that my mama has always told me is, watch your tone, because I'm not one of your little friends. If I'm not alone and you've experienced this as well, like and share this post. And don't forget, that you can join our movement by getting your very own My Mama Black hoodie at comedyhype.com/shop. We're in this together.